And what's up, everyone? Welcome to twitch.tv/OPNoobsOnline. I'm Fred, your host tonight for the... I'm getting a lot of feedback on my microphone. I can literally hear myself talk. It's a little bit distracting. But welcome, everyone.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Oh yeah.
Little bit of dead air and waving hands. Let's do it.
Pretty typical
Was I
Zoom.
supposed to talk? I was very confused there for a minute. I didn't know who you were saying hello to. I thought you were saying hello to our numerous audience.
See, this is the part where you're supposed to introduce everybody for like 20 minutes and then realize that no one can hear anyone but you.
I think
we should
that's
just
more
call it
than
out
fair.
and be like, can anybody hear us right now? Like, if anyone can hear us, say, yes, I heard Chris and he's at an appropriate volume level. Like, somebody type that in chat right now, because I'm not going to do another show where the first half of it's silent. I just won't do it, man.
Yeah, can we get a check that actually everything is fine? Yes.
All
I
right,
heard Chris,
life
laugh
is
out
good.
Okay, we got
This
something.
is pretty typical, though. Like, ever since all this social distancing thing started, I forgot how to respond to people. They're like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I just like stand there, like, "Am I muted?" Like, that's just kind of
Well, what's really funny to me is that we've had so many traumatizing moments that we come in the show timid. It's like, hey guys, hi. How are you? Can you hear us?
Beaten down.
Yeah.
Feedback of everybody is echoing though. So
Right.
how about that feedback?
Echoing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Right. Okay, we're
Gotta be
gonna.
something.
I'm gonna restart the stream, guys.
Night, it's in a cave.
I have the same problem, so I'm shutting off,
The
and we're
echo
coming right back.
probably comes from somebody is not using headphones and they're using.
Interesting, actually, because my other half works for the public utility, and like this is a unique thing where they're starting to video conference, and very few people do it. And some, it's like 50-50 phone in, 50-50 not. But like for my work at Facebook, like we've been VCing and everything's been VC with video the whole time, and we're back live. Now I'm just discussing work.
And I think it's working, right? I think now we're working. Yeah, so no, so basically just, you know what this means? It means one thing. I'm cursed, because it's XSplit saying, hey, I'm just gonna F with you just one more just for fun, because that's what I like to do with you, Fred. And I shut it off, I boot it back up, and it runs perfectly. So
When are you going to use OBS like a normal human? When are you going to do that thing? OBS is calling. It works. It doesn't crash.
He tried.
Well, apologies,
worse.
guys. We're back on track. Thanks for tuning in. It's the Noobcast every Tuesday night. Quite a few changes actually this week that I want to get started with. The first and obvious one, if you go on opnoobs.com, is the fact that we've got a brand new site. Yay! Very excited. Hats off to me. I take credit.
Wearing a beanie.
I developed it. It is my build. I'm excited because it's pretty much I really feel like it's the evolution of OPNoobs for what it's been in the last 7 years, learning to define itself, like learning to find its spot, its place, something that makes sense, and how to add value online in the very competitive world that is blogging on video games. And I'm excited. I guess I'm excited about what it means for the whole team moving forward and seeing it grow and evolve. Thanks to all the writers who continue to support the site, because we never say that enough. Everybody, including myself at OPNoobs, works on a volunteering basis, and that's really much the way we want to keep it. Actually, it's a matter of pride and soul and independence too. We kind of want to keep having a focus that, we don't have to handle a special relationship with this studio or that studio just to keep payroll going. We want to keep doing this because we like it, and that allows us to be super tough. I think we're one of the toughest websites on the market, pretty much, on Metacritic. I think if you start looking at our statistics, we're like scoring substantially lower than every other site, and we've got a whole logic behind it. It's not just to be a bunch of jerks. If you go on opnoobs.com on the brand new website, you will see that there's a whole logic to how we score games from 0 all the way to the never ever happening 10. excited. Thanks again. The Noobcast is very much connected to all of that because it's at the heart of the curating process that we want to put forward, which is, guys, you've got pretty much every week 150 teams of developers that come forward on the planet, on the whole universe, right? On the whole planet, at least that we know of, not the Asian markets and all that. That come out with their games. Most of them are poop. I'll just come out and say it. And there's a selection of about 15 to 20 games regularly that are worth looking at. The Noobcast is just that, the presentation of 7 of them, and we're gonna get started. But first, quick introductions. Hi Chris, hi Logan, hi Ali, hi Joel,
Howdy.
and hi Sarah. Just funny. We'll never end. We'll never end. So I just get started. First releases. Next time, if we don't have technical difficulties, we will be able to talk a little bit longer. All right. Someday. Ali, you ready?
Yeah, I'm actually picking up a little bit of feedback from Sarah's mic now.
Oh, is that what it is? I think, yeah.
No, I can't. It won't connect to the headset. I tried, so maybe I have to go and fix my computer.
Yeah, but don't turn off your webcam because you'll throw off all the webcam. If you can just mute.
It's so cool when that happens. We all get like half of our heads shown. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, do not touch that webcam.
So if you can just mute in between, that'd be just as helpful, I think. So
Yeah,
we'll go with
perfect.
that. So are we ready to start with our first game this week, Fred?
Yeah, I think from
Buddy,
now on,
you're
like,
so
Sarah
good.
has to
Buddy,
give
you're so-
all of
yeah.
her comments through mime.
Yeah.
This sucks ass.
All right. Ali, it's all yours. No news today. It's the news are coming out on Thursday. Check it out at the same time, same place on Twitch. Ali, right over at you.
Okay, Someday You'll Return is the first game we're going to check out this week. It's developed and published by CBE Software. A story-driven psychological horror game about a desperate search for a missing daughter deep in the woods where you swore you'd never return. Brought to you by the creative duo behind Julia Among the Stars. That's all there really is on it.
Yeah, you're gonna find more on Steam if you
So
check
that
the
one
Steam
did
page. But the thing is about this game, you guys know this. I go on Metacritic. I look at all the games. This game was not on Metacritic, and that doesn't happen often. And suddenly I get this email just at 5 o'clock today. Literally, like this happened 2 hours ago in my inbox. This game popped up. This happened. Then I go on Steam. It's not a cheap game. I think it's $30 or $40. It's an investment. And you go on the website, and then I went on their YouTube channel, and they have a lot of devlogs. Not a lot, but just about 7, 8. Team of, this is one of the studios I was talking about pre-show. Like, this is a team of maybe 3, 4, 5 guys tops, making a game that looks beautiful. The music, by the way, is astonishing. I'm very curious. You're gonna see on the gameplay that I put together, not the gameplay, but basically the YouTube videos. You're gonna see the developers talking in their office, and you'll see how like indie this is. But at the same time, it's also very it's one of those games that's made by, I feel like, European intellectuals. And that's not gonna appeal to a lot of people, right?
Yeah, you just turned me off right there. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, this game looks cool, and then Fred was like, European intellectuals. I'm like, nope. Next game.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck
And
out.
well, that's so. I feel so sad that that's the case. You represent a big crowd, Chris. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Well, maybe if European intellectuals could not be as douchey as they are, then everything would be better. Maybe this is a them problem.
Okay,
not an us problem, right?
sure, fair enough. But you, the developer, you look at this. You forget who made
I'm
it.
being sarcastic about European intellectuals. The game looks beautiful. The videos look great. The music looks good. There's an obvious feel and look. I'm not into these kind of games in general. I don't really like these sort of go solve the mystery first person adventure stuff. That's not my game. But I could very easily imagine for people who this was their game that this would be something interesting. It looks like a good one of these. I don't know, Logan, you're more into these. What do you think?
Puzzle games, I mean, it looks good, and they are a Czech company, by the way, out in the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
And CBE stands for Cardboard Box Entertainment. So
That makes sense.
Julia, the last fun fact about them, they basically Indiegogo'd for $14,120 and managed to produce a game out of that. So good for them to continue to drive on the indie dev scene. It looks like it has a lot of interesting thought behind some of the puzzle aspects, and there's a lot of clever mechanics shown off in it, and a lot of obvious things like you need to put batteries in a walkie-talkie. It doesn't just automatically work because you found the walkie-talkie. So, but will I think it have mass market appeal? Probably not.
No,
at an indie scale, it'll have very finite puzzles that they focused heavily on polishing, and the rest of the things won't be interactable. So, well, it looks good. The music looks good. It's got some questionable Blair Witch Project feels of In the Woods, but
it does.
I'd check it out, but it's not something I'm going to cling to necessarily. But good on them for continuing to strive forward in the Czech Republic with 5 people.
I feel like
the Czech Republic's got some good developers. Like Eastern Europe is one of the least appreciated regions of the world for development.
Yeah,
Poland, the Czech Republic, Serbia, Slovenia. I've met there's amazing developers in that part of the world doing really good work.
That's what I'm sorry. I'm feeling sorry about when I look at this game, because I completely agree with what Chris and Logan just said. That basically this game, great effort, probably not going to sell really, really well. It might sell a little, but
that's the beauty of Eastern Europe. It doesn't have to sell that well for these people to keep making money. That's the joy of European indie development, right? I mean,
yeah, but I just feel like basically there's talents there that's underserved, if that's the correct word. There's talent. There's so much talent in Eastern Europe, and yet it's kind of like the FIFA World Cup and the African countries. The African countries have terrific players. They have amazing players. They have amazing soccer players, and yet they will never win a World Cup. Or at least that's the overall feeling on planet Earth.
Was racist.
No, it's just the overall feeling on planet Earth. Basically, when is an African country going to win the World Cup, considering they have so much talent? Then most talent comes from Africa. That's what you've got to realize.
Elitist than anything, is we have the money to beat out those.
So it's
the little guy,
I hate to say. I hate to say, but what these countries lack in Eastern Europe is the organization around them. Basically, the corporate side of things, because the talent is there, but there's.
I would argue that that's changing. I think for this particular genre of game, things that this is the. I expect this to be played by people on Twitch genre of game, right? For mobile games, absolutely not. Actually, there's multi-million-dollar companies in Poland and Czech right now making huge amount of money, making games that are doing extremely well in Eastern Europe. And I think over the next 5 or 6 years, you're probably going to see those people looking at how can we support local teams more? How can we? And if you go to conventions, you see that already. So I think this thing. I think they're going to get there way faster than African football teams will, I guess. I think you're going to quietly see it happen.
I think so too.
I think
there's investment there for sure.
In the West have this sort of EA and Blizzard and the 5 companies that we know about own everything mentality. But if you actually start breaking it down to money, you will find that their share of the world is growing quite small compared to this big chunk of what's happening in China, what's happening in Southeast Asia, what's happening in Eastern Europe, especially China. I think most people have really misunderstood how much money China puts into games right now. They're just not making a big deal about it. Right?
Yeah, but there's a cultural. China, you have a cultural gap here, and we gotta move on to the next game, Chris. So I need to cut you short. But there's a cultural gap there between China and Eastern Europe can make games like CD Red Project, right? Like they can make these type of games that appeal to a worldwide audience.
So does China. You just don't know that they're doing it, right? China owns huge hunks of Supercell. China owns huge hunks of Blizzard, right? I mean, if you're actually looking at where the games you're playing right now are coming from, a lot of them are funded out of China. You just don't know it.
League of Legends, Unreal.
Yep.
Well, that's sad.
Game Store as a whole.
Yep.
Ali, number 2, but I just closed on that sad. That makes me sad.
All right, our next game this week is Close to the Sun, and it's kind of a little bit relatable considering where we're at right now. Deep in international waters, Tesla's Helios stands still, an unbound utopia for scientific research. Rose Archer steps aboard in search of her sister, quickly to discover not as all as it seems. A single word covers the entrance: quarantine. So I've actually started to play this game a little bit, so I'm curious as to what you guys have to say about it.
Joel.
Hey, Joel, you're muted.
I got it. I just figured that out. It has a very BioShock feel to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what everybody else got, but like watching it, it was very reminiscent of kind of that first playthrough of BioShock and BioShock 2 kind of back in the day. And so like it immediately caught my attention because of that.
I'd go one step further and say, short of some of the personality of BioShock, it is BioShock,
True.
Reimagined, and this is it above water as opposed to below.
That's the only difference, yeah.
Well, moments before it sank, with slightly spooky Stephen King's, mouth like it monsters following him around.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess my question is, again, this is not my kind of game. So for you guys who are more into this kind of thing, you're saying this is BioShock or it's very close to is that bad or good? What is? I don't.
To me,
that
that's a
yay or
good
nay?
thing, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I really love BioShock, and this
You
definitely
started
not on the
playing it.
BioShock level. Yeah, exactly. It's not on the same level as BioShock for sure.
It's tough call.
I would, if it's this versus BioShock, I mean, BioShock every time, but
Sure.
this is like about a quarter of the cost of a BioShock game, so
Yeah, it's a budget BioShock.
yeah, I mean, it's budget BioShock. It really is budget BioShock.
I think it stands a chance. That's what I'd say, right?
Yeah.
Like I think it stands an honest chance to make some waves for the studio long term.
I admire them for using the word quarantine right now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair for these, I mean, it's gotta suck to be making a virus-based game, and you're like, okay, we're gonna launch spring 2020, and then like, fuck, like how upset is that gotta be, right?
Maybe the murder hornets will distract people.
No.
And yet I bet you some studios are happy as well. Like you look how well Bannerlord did, it was bound to do well, right? Like Bannerlord. But this one, like Bannerlord just skyrocketed into like success. And nobody knows because everybody's quarantined and not talking about it. But it's like that's what's the studio's name? You know what I'm talking about, right? Bannerlord.
No.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
No idea. No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Help me out, Joel.
It's the Mountain Blade.
Yeah,
game.
Mountain Blade.
The one that we've been waiting for like
Wow.
ever and
Years.
ever.
Wow. You guys, wow. Out of touch, Chris. Out of touch.
He's too busy buying all that
knows nothing.
shit paper.
Close to the sun. To get right back to it. Close to the sun. I think it's it's definitely a polished product. It looks beautiful. It does have Bethesda quality, frankly. No questions asked.
That's interesting because this was the team that shipped Nero for Xbox One, and also they're out of Italy. So I'm just wondering, did BioShock never get shipped to Italy? Did they, maybe they?
Are you saying it's a car?
Great idea. I don't know.
I don't see I like that style, maybe I'm biased because I like that overall feel. Like as a gamer, I like to jump into that universe. That type of universe appeals to me immensely. I don't know why. And I have no idea why.
Are we being a little unfair here? I mean, it's like, hey, this is a platformer. Mario exists. This is Mario. Screw this game. Like, I don't know. Maybe when you're done playing BioShock and you want to play something else, maybe you're into this
But
kind of game.
is it Mario just now he's wearing
It's not just.
purple overalls instead of red ones? And then it's
I would
don't know,
argue
and it's
many
just
platformers are not much different than that.
I mean, I guess you're right, but it just
But
just
part of this and the previous game is experiencing the story. And so I
Yeah.
will say that while it's not really my type of game that I play all the time. Some of my most memorable games I've played, like my most memorable experience, are games like this.
Yes.
So like it's one of those things, like if you allow yourself to fall into the story, even if it's like if it feels so much like it, I don't necessarily think that's a problem. It's like watching another superhero movie, right? You can still, which that might be controversial to some of you, but like, you know, you can experience it and enjoy it for the individual thing it is, even though it's like almost wrote exactly like the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, you go and look at the murder mystery section at the bookstore, and come on, how different are those murder mysteries? They're the exact same damn book. Yeah. But people are like, but I read the first 20 in the series. I want to read 21, right? I mean, I want to read another series that's like it. I mean, how many detective novels are there like that? So, I mean, I don't know that I'm going to be so down on it. I mean, maybe there's someone who said, yeah, I like BioShock, but I have a different story to tell. And this is a great sort of vehicle to tell my story, so they tell their story. As I don't have the problem with it that you guys do.
It's definitely worthy of playing for the $15. It's very worthy of playing.
Yeah, the comparison to BioShock, I think, is almost complementary in its art style, because it's a very hard, polished art style to kind of pull off. And you know, the press quotes that surround this one that they have listed, they've got accolades already for it, but the press quotes once again aren't going to help them, because like Kotaku says, Close to the Sun is like an indie BioShock without combat. Games Radar, a little bit of BioShock, a little bit of Soma. So it's like, once again, the press has already resignated this feeling, because it identifies instantaneously with a very specific time frame, genre, style of game. So like, hats off to them if they're a small studio competing with the money that was thrown to make BioShock.
Yeah.
100%, and it looks really. There's some cheesy stuff in it, but it looks really good.
They're Italian.
It looks polished to me.
Yeah, but we've moved on to the next trailer, and the next trailer, I have a lot of things to say because I've actually downloaded the game and played the game. I've been anticipating this for a while. Ali, you know which one I'm talking about?
We already know why you like Population Zero.
Yes.
It's appropriately French, isn't it?
Population Zero was developed and published by Nplex Games LLC. Survival on Kepler is a race against time. Make the most of the remaining 168 hours or get turned into an unworldly being by the sphere. Complete quests to help NPCs explore the diverse landscape, survive wildlife and other players, uncover Kepler's mysteries, and your mission's true goal. And yes, it is French as fuck.
Okay, so here's the problem. Here's the problem, and I start with that because this game is a problem. And thank you, by the way, to the PR person for giving me an extra set of keys just for us to try out the game, because that's the thing. Like, a lot of us in the community were very much excited about this game, myself included. And part of the reason was, damn, I got a lot of great looking emails about it for the last 6 months, a year maybe, and I'm talking a lot of emails, like, check this thing out, check what the devs are doing here, check that. And I got so excited because I just love the art style, I love all the cutscenes, all the trailers, love that stuff, and I think it looks great, and it kind of like, you know, toys around with the MMO / survival genre that I've always wanted to explore. The whole thing, I pretty much sold, basically. So I get my key this week, I download the game, and bear in mind, like, I don't do that often, right? Like, I don't actually take the time to stop, download a game, just try it out for 15 minutes just to feel it out. And oh boy, wow. Like, I get it's early access, but maybe you shouldn't have done that, because and I feel cheated as a guy who has not paid for that key, right? Like, I feel cheated.
I'm surprised to hear you say that.
I feel cheated because it took my time.
I went and looked on Steam, and
it's got some terrible.
Sadly, Steam seems to agree with you.
Yes,
the reviews are mostly negative, and they all seem to be pretty much the same thing. We were really excited about it, but when we played it, it really wasn't any fun. So that's concerning.
Exactly. And so, but you know, like you guys say,
it's off a lot of plays too. I mean, it's out of 245 reviews, so that's a quorum, I believe.
Here's the thing: I'm a big proponent of early access. I think early access is a wonderful thing, and it needs to stay. It's one thing that defines PC gaming and makes it special. It needs to evolve. It needs to grow. It needs to stay. But the problem here is not so much the game as much as is the amount of money they threw into marketing. instead of just focusing on making a good game, right? Like, you've got to strike that balance as a studio. Chris, you probably know this. Logan, you probably know this well, right? Like, it's like you got to strike that balance of how much money do I invest into actually making a good game, and then how much money do I keep to make sure the game sells? Everybody when they build a company deals with these mechanics in some shape or form. And here I feel like they put all the money in making great trailers, and it's rare. You don't see that often. Like,
But the trailers are beautiful.
The trailers
They're
are amazing.
gorgeous.
You feel like you're looking at a $60 game. It's like, oh, could be the next World of Warcraft. Oh, you know.
I have this. I don't know this, but I have from the insider's point of view, I have this very clear image in my mind of like this marketing department making these videos and then going to the development group and being like, "This is what we're gonna make, right?" And the development group going like, "Are you fucking insane? We can't do that. Not on our budget." Like I've been in that world before. I don't know if that's what happened in this game, but I can very clearly tell you I have been on that project before where I have been shown a marketing trailer for what I'm in the middle of building and been told, "Yeah, that's what you need to make." And telling a marketing department, "Yeah, that thing that you're showing, I can't build that because I don't have the budget or it's not doable or, for reasons." Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. I mean, but I've been there before.
It really looks like they were told in that specific meeting, Chris, from my perspective, and they are a Moscow-based company, not French, FYI.
Thank you. Thanks, Logan.
I got your back on this one.
Thank you.
So the marketing trailer, but it looks like they were told, like, okay, Fallout, Destiny, make it look beautiful. We're going to toss in some combat maybe from another game, but like make this love child happen. And that is the initial like trailer that you see, the well-polished trailer. But ultimately, like reading the pitch line of like, you have 7 days,
168 hours or something.
7 days exactly. To like do stuff, otherwise you're going to be turned into something by the sphere. It's like, already you're telling the players like all the wrong information, even in that pitch line. Like that seems like a marketing pitch line, to be perfectly honest. Like no one you
enough with it.
You see it as like, am I going to replay again? Like, what do you mean? Blah blah blah. But
honestly, it's. I feel like you're being kind, Logan. This is pure theft because it's like Assassin's Creed, right? Like they just came out with this trailer that's amazing, looks fantastic, and like wow, it's on everywhere on. Like at the moment,
again, I have to come from the perspective of no game dev wakes up like saying we want to steal $29.99 to make my life and just ship pure shit.
Yeah.
Like, and like the negative reviews right now, like much like you vented your thoughts and Chris pointed out, it's like 28% of 250 people pretty much having said. Not a chance in hell. We feel ripped off. Like, this is bad. We've been playing it forever. Why did they ship this? Like, that means someone panic pressed the ship button, or they just refused to give it more time.
I want to add one thought though. Like, I'm actually sitting and reading through all the negative reviews, and what's interesting to me I'm reading a bunch of them, right? And what's interesting to me is they're long. They're really long reviews, right?
Yeah, we're pissed
people
off.
have written novels about. But the novels are, here's my list of things that could be done to make this game better. And in my experience, people don't write that unless at some critical level they want it to work, right?
Yes.
If you play a game and it's just unadulterated shit, you're not going to write a book about it. You're going to get online and you're going to say, this game is shit, don't play this game. And that's going to be the end of it because you're pissed off and you just want this thing out of your life. But these people are writing absolute novels about how this game could have been made better. And it makes me feel like maybe what happened was this was a dream. This was a big dream, and they couldn't get to the point in their big dream that they wanted to get to. But for whatever reason, they felt like it was time to put it in the early access right now. Maybe there is. I mean, I'm trying to be a bright light here. Maybe there's a hope that they're going to get all this negative feedback, and they're going to say, all right, here's all the stuff that we need to go do and go fix. Maybe this is what early access is for. I mean, because that's the real argument for developers about when do you put it in early access? Do you put it in so early that it's going to be very broken and you get all these negative responses?
I mean, we have to move on, Chris. We have to move on. But just a side thought, like they still had a dishonest approach. Period.
Which is why I believe this review is written by Fred. Roses are red, chocolate is brown, combat is awful, this game is a
That was
letdown.
my favorite one.
Fantastic.
That is poetry.
Short,
Fantastic.
sweet, and to the fucking point.
Yeah.
Alright. Good luck to them.
Yeah. The Old World. Ali.
All right, The Old World is developed and published by Mohawk Games. Conquer the old world in this historical epic strategy game from Soren Johnson, lead designer of Civ and Off-World Trading Company. Every year is a turn, and each leader is a mere mortal, so your lasting legacy will be a dynasty behind. Sounds like they've got some...
All right, I'm going to jump on this because this is my game, right? All right, let me say, first of all, Soren Johnson, if you haven't heard of Soren Johnson, that is one of the sort of quiet people in the game industry who has done a lot to build games that you have played that you probably haven't heard of because they don't put his name on the front of things. But Soren Johnson
do
is a big
now,
deal.
shit.
That's a bigger deal than you think it is. And this game looks beautiful. It looks basically like somebody who really liked the Crusader Kings dynasty system, where where your children have meaning and whatnot, and said, what if we grafted that on the civilization? And I can tell you, I literally have on my hard drive this game design. Like, I've wanted to build this game for the last 8 years. Somebody went and built it, and the person who built it, looking at how they built it, oh my God, it looks beautiful, and this is my game. I'm going to go play. I'm going to go buy a copy of this
Chris,
game.
we've never. I've seldom
That's a
seen.
very rare thing.
Yeah, we've seldom seen you so excited about a game, honestly.
Flat out, I will buy a copy of this game. I will play this game, and I will tell you if it's good or not. Now, whether or not they did this well, I don't know. I can't talk from the trailers and everything, but the general idea of what they're going to do, the look of what they've done, I'm in. I'm absolutely
looks fucking
in.
great. If you like Civ, then you're gonna fish it up.
It's sexy, right?
I don't know. You guys ever play Crusader Kings?
Yes, when I was.
I've played Civ.
All right. So the thing with Crusader Kings was there was sort of a second level. There was building your kingdom and whatnot, but the second level was building your dynasty, and it was this whole idea of, I'm going to raise my children, and what do I do when I raise my children, and how do I raise them, and what kind of people are they going to be, and the choices that I make about raising my kids are going to change how they behave and what kind of strengths and weaknesses they have. It was a really interesting system. It was the best part of Crusader Kings. And I've always felt when I played Civ that it was really weird because, okay, you're Abraham Lincoln in the Stone Ages. Well, that doesn't make sense, right? But, well, that's who the Americans have got. So you're Abraham Lincoln, like it or not. So, like, this is really cool because it takes that idea of growing your dynasty and growing this family and grafts it right on top of sort of civilization-based gameplay. I'm in. I'm sold. It's great. It's the best part of my two favorite games.
So,
and Sarah said something about Catan, and that was kind of my first thought when I looked at the map too.
I'm confused by what you just said, Chris. Like, not the first half, but the second half. Not the Civ part. I get the Civ part. I'm confused about the family side of things.
You do not play Crusader Kings? That was the beautiful part of Crusader Kings. That was the cool bit.
I don't remember.
Was like you would like marry, and when you got married, you'd be like, okay, which princess am I going to marry? And you marry this princess, and then you have like 5 kids, and one of your kids would like turn out to be a psychopath, and one of your other kids is going to be a hunchback, and and you have all these sort of this whole building a family thing that was in Crusader Kings. It was absolutely beautifully done. It's one of the most. It's the whole reason Crusader Kings exists. It's why everybody plays that game, and so that part of what does it actually mean to sort of raise a dynasty and build out your family and marry in between and all that? That's what Crusader Kings is all about. Now, I'm not sure how much of that they've brought into this game, but a lot of these little things where it's like the pop-ups. There's if you go to Steam or if you go look at the it's not Steam. I'm sorry, it's Epic. If you go look at the Epic store and you look at the screenshots,
it's on Epic
there's
Games,
these little choices like your troops have found an old curved wall. What do you do about the carved wall? And these little choices that change, instead of you going to a slider bar like in Civ and saying like, I'm going to be 5% more democratic, you actually are given sort of events, and these events, you choose from the events, what are you going to do? And those events also show up as part of your family. So it'd be like, your kid is shown an interest in killing little animals. What do you do about that? That's an actual real thing in Crusader Kings. And if you don't tell your kid, it's like, and Crusader Kings is fun because it's like, what do you do about the kid that hurts the animals? beat him until he's better is like one of the choices, and you can.
Yeah,
and
no,
you
then I
raise,
have
like, a
yeah. This is I need to
really
I
cool.
need to
So
go
I don't
play
know how much of
Crusader
that they
Kings.
put into this game, but it's really a cool mechanic, and I hope that there's a lot of that in this game.
And watching through the video, there seemed to be a lot of trees like that of like, hey, you know, what are you doing about slavery? And it's like, hey, you know, continue these along the way, or your kid's going to change and rebel. So it sounds slightly even more engaging to me than Civ, to be perfectly honest.
I'm so getting this game. This is the most exciting thing I've seen on this show yet.
And on the side note, for the minute that's left on the side note, I just want to quickly say, because you had me thinking about Epic Games, saying it's not on Steam, it's on Epic Games, and you know, Epic Games has become part of my life over like the last year, and it's every week there's a couple more games on it. But what's nice about Epic Games, I have to say, is that it seems to be that all the games they publish they're selective, right? Like they don't just take any games, because everything that comes out on Epic Games, whether you like it or not, is at least kind of attractive.
I'm a huge fan of Epic. I'm a huge fan of the idea that there's someone out there to compete versus Steam. I think that's great for everyone. I think it brings prices down. I think it puts more opportunities out for developers. I wish there were 3 more stores. I wish there were 5 solid stores out there, and I pray that Epic does well.
That I prefer Steam over Epic is just the community of users and like how the ratings as far as like user reviews and stuff like that, whereas Epic's more like Metacritic and stuff, which is fine, but you know, I do enjoy the Steam community. But I really do like Epic. I really don't understand a lot of the game behind it.
There's pros and cons to the Steam community.
Yeah,
that's true.
No, it's true. I completely agree with that statement.
Understatement.
This is a very complex subject, by the way.
We don't have to get into it now.
Yeah,
I love the Steam community.
Yeah, Drift
It's a love-hate
21,
relationship.
Drift 21 early access. I am pumped. I am psyched. I am excited. It's 505 games. I leave it at that. Ali, go ahead.
Okay, so this one, obviously early access, developed by ECC Games SA and published by 505 Games. Tune your dream drift car, change parts, boost performance, and show your skills on Japan's legendary EBI-SU circuits. Get on the track with highly detailed licensed cars. You'll find the most iconic cars known to drift fence around the world in the game. Looks like the early access only has a few of these cars, so I'm kind of excited to see what else they put in the game.
Well, first, like, to put the game into context, right? It's 505 Games, and 505 Games as a publisher, I don't know if you guys are familiar with them. In my experience, and this is completely subjective, but just hear me out. Just every person in their marketing department seems to be a total jerk. I just come out and say it. Like, at every convention, in every PR email, yeah, just like, I have had the roughest time with their PR people at every single level. And yet, as a publisher, I gotta say, they kick ass. Like, I think they publish indie games at like kind of a mid-range levels. They're right between indie and AAA. And everything they do is between indie and AAA. You never kind of know, right? Like, it's kind of that mid-range level, and they kind of thrive through that pipeline as a publisher, and I'm kind of a fan of that because it's a step above technically from what like the type of stuff that Devolver and Tiny Build will support. It's still underneath the big stuff like Activision, Square Enix, and all these guys, and Bethesda. But they have a broad kind of they have a lot of titles. They support a lot of developers, and this obviously like I'm excited about because I'm a racer in games, so it looks good, it looks fun, and it looks like it's kind of like a new thing on racing.
Well, it's something that I've been waiting for quite a while. So we've had the mechanic simulator games, which basically if any of those get reviewed on OP Noobs, I'm generally the guy who does it. So like, just because I really enjoy that kind of simulator, and I was waiting for one that has both that mechanic, that kind of building mechanic, as well as decent, even close to decent physics, because none of them have had so far. And so especially if they do a good job on the vehicles and really kind of throw their weight behind the physics engine and really nail that down, like I think that they're going to have a great market that they're going to hit. it's interesting to me though with this particular, like 505 has done a lot of, there's a big publisher. This particular developer though is not. And in their previous game, just when you look at it, it goes from like just a very casual game that graphically is not anything to write home about, you know, nothing like a racing game of this title. So it's really kind of interesting to see the change from that to something like this, and I'm interested to see how
it doesn't look bad, right?
Work. What's that?
It doesn't look bad, right?
It makes me wonder, right? Like anybody who can make a really great CGI video, it's another thing to make a game that plays that way. So,
for the record, not everybody can make a great CGI video. Just for the record.
Oh, sorry.
That is also a talent.
That's true.
Logan? 505, I mean, good publisher. I mean, the funny part is you mentioned one game, but didn't they put out Death Stranding, Kojima's title?
My God, there's a lot of them.
505 did, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they're trying to step into the level, because ultimately, whenever I'm stuck with them, my interactions with them have been with Payday, so I've talked to those guys a ton.
Okay.
They seemed overly happy with them as a publisher, so, you know. Sorry, your marketing exercise.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, you know, I'm really talking about the people they hire to represent the company at a brand level, right? Like, they seem
their latest titles. They're definitely. I think this is a step into their level up, because they also put out Control, and with this, it's like it looks like they're budgeting a little higher for titles moving forward. So maybe
I guess to me, what's kind of ironic about 505 in terms of its relationship with small press, which is what we are, is they're tough with small press, right? Like they don't let you into their circles. They're one of these studios, these publishers, and these are very few. Like in comparison, they're part of a 5% gang, right? Like who kind of behave that way. Everybody else is cool with smaller sites, supports them, like feeds them with the keys that they need to get reviews out. And 505 for some reason doesn't matter what you sell them. Like we have that many followers or Metacritic or whatnot. If you're a small site, they're like, yeah, not you, right? And that's something that I was kind of I never appreciate that as a kind of company philosophy. Obviously, because I think it's important to support the small devs and the small people, right? Let the small people grow. They're gonna keep the pipeline creative. And when I went to convention and started going out, like I even got more horrified with the way we were received, despite the fact that we had like meeting times and all that stuff. But that's got nothing to do with the creative team inside those halls, right? That want to support good stuff and are working to make that happen. And so like I look at, that's why like it's the irony with 505. It's I'm actually a big fan of the stuff that they come out with, right? I think it's like I'm excited about this game. I'm probably gonna buy it.
I'm not a huge racing person per se, so I'm probably the wrong person to put in my 2 cents on this one, because I know there's racing games. I know tons of people that work on racing games and are car fans, and you know. Yeah,
well, a lot of it in the US is going to be rally stuff or NASCAR stuff, but
like rally car and drifting like videos, I'll sit there and get high and watch them. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Gymkhana.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, my thing is, I'm attracted to this thing as a European, and that means like more like I come from the Formula end of things.
Formula
right? Yeah, like Formula 1 end of things, and so I like to go 300 miles per hour. So it's I think
an awesome jab from Ali, and you just were like, yeah. Formula 1.
Wow. Anyways, moving on. Up to the next, I think, Fury Unleashed Early Access.
Alright, this one's going to be developed and published by Awesome Games Studio. Fury Unleashed is a combo-driven, roguelite action platformer. Each kill you score increases your combo. Hit certain thresholds and your damage resistance and healing powers will kick in. It's a game you can even beat in one ultimate combo. Are you up to the task?
Yeah. This is one of this is one of those games that Chris is gonna buy immediately. Like the moment it releases, Chris is just gonna click and say yes.
I feel like there's a lot of words Chris hates, and looking at this art, I feel like Chris is gonna hate it.
No, you totally don't know me. I love this art.
Do you
This
really?
art is awesome.
Are you serious?
How do you not love this art?
I'm not saying I don't love it. I just think that you wouldn't like it.
I'm
'cause
happy
it's
to hear you say
very,
this.
very close
Yeah.
to a lot of the games where you're like, fuck this shit.
Exactly.
See,
So agree with you.
You know what this is? This game is what all the games that I'm like, fuck this shit, wishes it could be. Right?
Yes.
That's what this
Nice.
is. Right?
Nice.
It's not that I hate those other games because they're that. I hate those other games because they do this poorly. Right? And this game does this,
Right?
from what I can see. This game does this right.
I'm just so
there's a
happy
dude,
you
he's
say
got a
this
gun,
because-
he blows shit up. It's got the little comic book graphics. This is what all of those shitty games that I'm always like, God damn it, there's another one of these pieces of shit. This is what they all ought to be. And if they were like this, I wouldn't hate them, right? But these guys figured it out, right? It reminds me, it's what was it? Was it Metal Slug?
Metal Slug. Yep.
This is so much. And I mean that in a good way. I don't mean that in a oh, they copied Biohazard way. I mean this or copied Bioshock way. I mean this in a good way. This is Metal Slug updated for the future. It's got all kinds of cool graphics in it. It looks exciting. Their promo materials are really well done. But I mean, you can tell from the promo materials what the game is, and the game looks super fun. I don't know why you would think that you think I wouldn't like this makes me sad.
No, no, that's not it. Actually, I'm actually very happy that you react that way because I don't
this close to pixel art.
I know.
close.
Honestly,
but it's not
Chris,
pixel art.
It's not.
It's retro art without being, and that's exactly the whole point. They were like, we want to make a retro game, and we want to make it feel like these old retro games, but they didn't immediately say, well, it has to be pixel art, which is the immediate thing that everybody goes to. It doesn't have to fucking be pixel art to be retro. This is retro as shit. But it
looks cool as fuck.
Good, right?
I'm just so happy. Because I don't let
that. That's the thing that upsets me so much is every time we want to do retro, we're like, oh, it's retro, so it has to look like shit. No, this is as retro as it gets, and it looks beautiful. This is exactly what I'm always talking about. Why can't we do retro games that use good graphics? This is it. This is exactly the thing I keep saying that I want. It's a retro game. It's got good graphics.
And you know, like compliments to the chef for putting together a trailer that's it's not a
Chef kiss it. Come on.
There's no cutscenes. There's no bullshit like like Population Zero we just saw early access. Like this is what you're looking at. This is what you're playing, and you just come out of this trailer feeling like I want to be in that game. I want to be doing this.
I know exactly what I'm gonna do in this game.
It's fantastic.
Yep, I'm gonna do a bunch of that cool stuff,
and I'm in.
I want to go do that,
and I'm sold. Right, like because it's done right. It's the triggers. It's the execution. It's the bullet hell.
The bit where they like open up the comic book and then zoom into it, and then suddenly the game starts.
Yeah, the work with the lights. These guys understand lights. Like lightings, like lighting a game. Like look at how well defined it is. Just the level design, just everything. I'm a huge fan, and that's I'm excited that you're excited because I know you're a tough audience. I know when I see this type of games, I tend to frown myself as well, and I think. No, not another one of those. I mean, I can completely relate to how you feel, Chris. And this game, I just couldn't, I couldn't just say next. And it immediately grabbed me. I just...
I was actually having a conversation with my own design team just last night. We're working on some pitches for some new games. And while we were working on these pitches for new games, and we'll talk about what the game is, but I was looking at it and I told one of my designers, this doesn't have a reason to exist. And he was like, I don't understand what you mean. I'm like, this is just another one of these. I don't see why this game needs to be, right? In its current state, in the current pitch that I'm looking at, there's no reason for this thing to be. And this is the opposite of that, right? I've seen this game before. We've run around and we've jumped and we've shot things and fought bosses, and there's nothing original in this design.
Nothing.
I mean, I don't mean that I don't mean that to be crappy, but there's nothing like, oh, I've never seen that before. No, you've seen all this before, right?
And yet it moves the genre forward, doesn't it?
Exactly. It
right?
still has a reason to be. With the way that they're using the graphics, the way that they're using the animation, the way that the way that it's all coming together in this sort of comic book approach, even though there's nothing incredibly original in this, it has a reason to exist. And if you showed me just 2 or 3 screenshots of it, I would say like, yeah, that the world needs this. Right, and that's my real argument against these games most of the time. Is you look at a couple screenshots and you're like, this is completely replaceable with 10 other games that look exactly like it. Why did somebody waste their time and energy making this? And another goddamn pixel art game, screw it, right? But this
Exactly.
is not that.
This is not
the
that.
opposite of that. You look at it and you're like, yep, there's a reason for this to be. This deserves to live.
Compared with our earlier Steam Access game, early access Steam title.
You can do this, Logan.
I've had too many
Words are hard, Fred. Fuck.
I know, words are hard, especially on Cinco de Mayo. This was released in February 24, so they've had a time, 2 months for early access to allow it to churn with their community, and they have a 90% positive rating.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Not surprised.
There of like, it is exactly what they promised to deliver, and it is 100% going to be an awesome game.
Yes.
I'd like to just point out, by the way, the name of the developer, Awesome Game Studio. I'm pissed off that I did not name my own game studio that. I'm pissed off that was available and I didn't do it.
It's cliche, man. It's cliche.
No, dude, Awesome Game Studio is awesome. I'm sorry, dude.
You see a lot of these types of names, though. It's not unique,
Two-man team from Poland, by the way.
Yeah.
This is so
wow.
Again, Eastern Europe. This is what I'm
telling you, man. That's where it's at. That's where
the
it's
monsters, the mechanics. This looks fucking great.
This is the last one before we leave. And before I close on this one, sign up to the raffle. If you haven't done so, we're about to do the Wheel of Fortune. opnoobs.com/raffle. I'm going to type that in the chat while Ali presents this game.
The raffle was best last week, I'm just saying.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, you're going to like the name of this studio too, Chris. Before We Leave is developed and published by Balancing Monkey Games.
Yeah, huh?
Before We Leave is a non-violent city-building game set in your own cozy corner of the universe. Rediscover and rebuild civilization, create multi-planet resource network, overcome ancient challenges, and fend off hungry space whales, which doesn't sound non-violent, but no, we'll see.
Maybe they're friendly, hungry space whales.
Maybe.
It says fend them off, but I can see
maybe they're hungry, but they don't want to eat you. Maybe they're hungry, but they want to make friends, and you're just
like in an annoying puppy way or something.
Yeah, maybe could be. No.
So there's very little offered with concerns to content on this game currently. What was it, like 5 screenshots and that synopsis and a loot video?
Yeah.
So, don't know.
It's a tough call. Yeah.
Building game, so I'm probably going to be out because I'm not the building Minecraft design.
All right, wait. I got some designers in here. I have a question that I can't get out of my head when I looked at this. If I have a spherical shape, can I cover it with hexes?
You can.
Oh,
I would think.
Mathematically speaking, you mean like geometrically speaking?
Mathematically, I don't think you can.
Yeah, you can. They're going to be bent, but mathematically you can. Sure.
Can you?
Yeah.
I mean, they're there.
I mean, there's a reason soccer balls aren't made out of hexes. Soccer balls are made out of a bizarre shape that you have to make instead of a hex to make it. Like, that's the only thing I can think. I watched this video like 10 times, and I keep thinking, like, how do they get the hexes to mesh like that? I got to go do some math later and figure this out because it's setting my OCD off really bad, actually.
You're actually blowing my mind right now. Like, I never thought of, I
am not sure that hexes can be tessellated into a spherical shape. I am not sure that's mathematically possible.
Maybe one of them isn't perfectly shaped,
right?
I mean,
maybe one of them is like
the sphere finishes at some point. They all connect, but maybe there's some weird gaps we can't see.
Yeah, and actually, if you look at it, the whole sphere isn't finished. Right? You see that hole right there?
If you rotate, it finishes. It finishes around the edges.
Yeah, well.
But like I said, that's actually one of the problems is it's kind of hard to tell what this game is from the information that we have. I feel bad having any really strong opinion about it because I feel like I'm not informed enough to have a strong enough opinion to be... I mean, I like the concept. From what I see, I'm like, well, that looks interesting. But that's about as far as I can get with it because I just don't feel like I have enough information to know more.
That's how I felt too, and I knew I was kind of closing the show on a letdown, but it's it comes out Friday. It's the last show of the week, so it's the last game of the week. That's there's a few more games. I think just about 3-4 this week that are worth checking out. But the bottom line is this could. There's that iPad feel that gets under my skin, right? Like, and I can't just shake off.
Why is it PC gamers have got such a weird thing about that? The iPad is not that evil, and friendly, casual graphics are not evil. That it's a valid artistic choice. I don't know why PC gamers are so.
I hate it.
You guys are such.
I hate
jerks about that.
See, and that's just I wouldn't be a jerk about it, but ultimately, I'm kind of sad too, Fred, that we're not ending on Spirit of the North for the Fox.
Are you? Snap! Wait, hold on. Let me switch course very quickly if you guys have 5 minutes.
Just because
I was debating.
Talk about on this one, and that one's like a glowy little beautiful fox thing in Iceland, and it's running around. It's kind of
Yeah, I really liked it too. I'm kind of disappointed as well.
Journey vibe.
Let's give it 7 minutes. I'm here. I got nowhere to be. Let's do it.
I'm gonna hook you up, Chris.
Let's
So here it goes.
Revolt.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Logan. Why don't you open on this? Because I had my.
No, I mean,
Are we gonna get Allie to read the thing? Come on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay. Spirit of the North is developed by MTU Studio and published by Merge Games. Spirit of the North is a single-player, third-person adventure game inspired by breathtaking and mysterious landscapes of Iceland. Play as an ordinary red fox whose story becomes intertwined with the guardian of the Northern Lights, a female spirit fox.
Yeah. So the first thing I want to know is, why are we not talking about this? Why is
every
this the one game we're not talking
every
about, Fred?
time.
What's wrong with you, man? This game is awesome.
I take so much heat every time. Here's the thing, I've seen games because
Iceland, you're like, nah, let's not talk about
so
this one game. What's
because
up with you, man?
it doesn't, because I see a lot of game about cats and foxes, and I see a lot of that. This is the best. This is the best looking one I've ever seen. I'll give you that.
You know why? Because they are a Raleigh-based studio, and they probably are fallout from Epic, and it's run by artists. So when you have artists that have limited, probably engineers to be able to spare, they make very beautiful games, hands down. And they even on their website they've got UE4 asset packs for sale, and check out our asset packs. So they're doing additional work and providing assets to UE4 based off the beauty of their works. They're just banging out awesome looking art.
I do want to just shout out to whoever. Animators don't get enough credit in video games. They're kind of a secret, dark art. People talk about artists and they always show great concept art. I can actually tell you, looking through this game, they have good animators. And those animators have done some really beautiful stuff. I just don't think animators get enough credit in the game industry. And this is a really good example of a game that's got beautiful animation. And four-legged creature running animations and stuff is actually quite difficult to do. Getting them to not look weird when characters turn and stuff like that, it's actually quite tricky. So when you say I'm going to run my game with a four-legged character as the main character, you have just pissed off an animator right from the beginning. You're like, that's
yeah, but I don't give. I mean,
you take an animator, poking him in the eye. You're okay. This is how it's going to be for the next 2 years. So that's a hard choice that they made, and it looks beautiful. That's the problem. That's a hard choice, and the reason it's a hard choice is because we don't like it. Let me push another game out, since we're in the topic of discussing the side games quickly, and we've done a good job at keeping.
See, we could have ended with Spirit of the North and so much praise.
Now Fred's like, no, we gotta end with a shitty game.
We don't want a little fox to be the main character of our game. We're PC gamers. That doesn't appeal to us. I would stand strong behind the same statement. We don't like underwater games.
Fred, why? Why you gotta be like that? Why you gotta pigeonhole PC gamers in this sort of? It's
because it's like strange.
Don't you tell me what I want. You're not my real dad.
Yes, fair enough. Fair enough. But the fact of the matter is the numbers back me up, right? Like the numbers show I'm correct. They never succeed, those games.
That's the problem.
It's the same argument, Chris.
What the PC gamer is, and because we have this image of what the PC gamer is, we can't get marketing money or development money for anything that's not what the PC gamer is. And because of that, we get Gears of War over and over and over again, and I'm fucking tired of it. And it's because of people like you, Fred, who are like, well, it'll never work. Well, it can work if you just support it.
No, I disagree. I disagree. It's a cycle, man. I disagree because I believe that it's about you have talent, and talent doesn't always make the best decisions in terms of what type of game to make. and you need direction. And often this direction is misplaced because it comes from the same source as where the talent originated, which is the developer. And I don't believe the developer succeeds alone. And I feel like this is one of those games in its extreme, the one with the fox, right? Whatever it's called. Where like
Spirit of the North.
Spirit of the North.
Give it credit for what it is.
The same thing with the game in a different way. One of the first games we saw tonight with the developers from Eastern Europe, right? The same concept. It's like you have all this talent, and yet the application, it's a miss. It's not going to be as much of a hit as it deserves to be because there's.
I'm gonna tell you a quick story, right? We were talking in the preview about the whole I made Far Cry thing, right? It's E3. I'm showing Far Cry at E3. It was back in like 2004 or something, right? I'm in the Ubisoft booth. I've got my little Hawaiian shirt on, and Far Cry owns the Ubisoft booth that year. We were all over that booth, and then over in a little corner of the booth, they had Heroes of Might and Magic. I didn't even know that Ubisoft owned the Heroes of Might and Magic license. They had bought it at some point.
That's awesome.
And there was like 2 guys at a tiny, sad little booth over in the corner that you could barely see showing Heroes of Might and Magic. And I walked over there. And by the way, I'm a huge Heroes of Might and Magic fan. I walk over and I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing in this tiny ass little booth? And why are we over there owning the entire thing? I mean, we had the whole thing was jungle themed, and it was and just in this sad little corner. And I thought to myself, this is exactly the same problem as right now. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Someone at Ubisoft had said, nobody wants Heroes of Might and Magic, so we'll stick it over there where nobody can see it and nobody knows anything about it. But everybody wants another fucking first-person shooter, which the world did not need another goddamn first-person shooter. It's got more than it could possibly ever need or want. And it did back then too, right? But because that's what they thought would sell, we own the booth. Heroes of Might and Magic got a tiny little kiosk over next to the toilets. And then you get to sit here and say, oh, well, see, the Heroes of Might and Magic, that'll never work. Of course it'll never work if you never support it. And if we sit here on a critical show and say, oh, you can never make it, why are we wasting these people's talent on a game about a fox in Iceland? Then, yeah, games about foxes in Iceland will never go anywhere. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Why you gotta be like that, Fred?
I just like the fact that you think of the Noobcast as a critical show.
I mean, we kind of are.
It's everyone. It's
I hear
the real
you.
Critics of the modern world are not OP noobs. They're not rock paper shotgun. They're the couple thousand people that bother to write reviews on the Steam page. That's who actually writes reviews now that matter. And those people have the same goddamn biases. And it's that this is what a PC game should be. And as long as we keep saying this is what a PC game should be, we're going to limit PC games to this little tiny thing. And why? Why do we keep doing that? I don't like it. No, sir. Don't like it.
Yeah. I see
Spirit of the North looks great. I stand behind that statement.
I see where you're coming from. I'm going to spin the wheel now. I got to do it. I spin the wheel. Here we go.
Sarah linked in chat that you can put hexes into yours.
We did the math for you.
If Logan wins again, I quit.
Did I get that right then?
Yep, the link is in there that hexagons can.
I hope you guys are plugging in your names.
That's what I said. Chris said no, it can't happen.
We've made it a policy.
I'm gonna Google search this.
So the link's already in chat for you.
We've made it a policy that you guys, anybody can enter the show.
Giveaway also shows.
Oh, nice! I know exactly who that is too. That's one of our writers. Oh, I'm so glad you got it, man. I'm very happy about that.
I guess you can. Well, God, I feel better now.
Happy for the writer saying no repeatedly when I win.
That's a big giveaway, man. It's like $250 of games. This is a big giveaway, so I'm glad you got it. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you on Thursday night, I believe. I hope, even if I have to do this thing alone. I'm covering the what we consider to be the top 7 news of the week, just about an hour. Hopefully, we'll see. Thanks, guys, and hopefully no technical difficulties. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
See you guys.
See you next time.